If you want to use NotebookLM to its fullest potential, you need to understand how the customization option works. And I'm not just talking about providing random prompt, creating sentence or two. I mean creating well-structured instructions that may bring your podcast to the limits and make it 5 or even 10 times better. And in this lesson, we'll go through each detail, so it will be very important, therefore stay to the end. To begin with, if you are new to NotebookLM, generally with this application we can manage, organize and work with our documents. Additionally, we have an option to create AI-generated podcasts. So here we've got kind of two different options. We can generate the podcast based on our sources we provide in our notebooks, or even we can customize this podcast. So in general, have more control over it. And in this video, we'll focus on this particular option. So we'll be providing the best instructions to create exceptional podcasts and actually the best ever. Right off the bat, let me show you what I prepared for you in this video. So here, this is my proven formula for creating the best podcasts. That contains 5 different elements. So we've got the introduction, focus area, main discussion, tone, and audience. And in general, each element is very kind of important. We'll be using everything in our final prompt. So in this video, we'll go more in depth and I will explain you why these components are so important. Let's start with the introduction. So here we would like to provide the introduction, so indicate what should be at the beginning. You can read here what it does. Welcomes listeners and introduces the topic. So here, for example, welcome the recipients by saying that maintaining good health is a key factor in our lives. So all of us know that the hook, so first 30 seconds, are very important. That's why we are providing our introduction. So we are indicating that, hey, say this, actually at the first moment. And again, we are providing something like that. So saying that maintaining good health is a key factor in our lives. This is great beginning because we've got a podcast, for example, about the health in that case. And we are kind of saying that maintaining good health is very important. So it is how it works. Then we have our focus area. So we are highlighting the key areas to cover. For this purpose, we can focus on 2 areas. So for example, we are kind of saying our chatbot that we are focusing on eating better and staying active. Because obviously in the health kind of category, we've got tons of hundreds of different topics. So it's great to focus on the specific area, to not like provide too wide actually category. Because if I, for example, provided, give me some data about the finances, I wouldn't be able to receive like very concrete, very specific data. And for sure, we don't want to have like very kind of wide podcasts. Because for this case, we are using generate option without customization. Moving on, we have component number 3. So main discussion. Here, we are kind of specifying our examples we would like actually to tell in the specific podcast. So now we've got our wide category, we've got specific topics. However, there we are kind of specifying certain topics. So for example, avoid processed foods and sugary drinks, start your day with a short morning workout, or add colorful vegetables to every meal. This is very important. By only these 3 kind of components, we are really digging deep inside of our podcast, and it is very important because at the end of the day, we want to have the best podcast ever. Then the component number 4 is tone. So we can use supportive and professional tone. We can use maybe very playful tone. That depends. However, as I found, it's very useful to specify the tone because we want to specify the mood. For example, for more formal cases, we would like to have professional tone. However, when we are speaking about casual cases, we want to have very playful tone. So that depends. And for sure, this is our 4th component. So tone, which is also very important. And at the end, we would like to specify the audience. So we are exactly telling for who this podcast will be. It's also very important because either it can be for professionals or just maybe home workers, for IT specialists, or maybe for marketers. So definitely it is really helpful to define for which type of the people this podcast will be. And this is pretty everything. So we have our 5 different components in our formula. And at the bottom, we've got our example prompt. So now let's read it. And before that, like disclaimer, this is the final form of our prompt. So we are providing introduction, focus area, main discussion, tone, and audience. So yeah, below them, you just provide the specific data. So now let's read it. Introduction. Welcome the recipients by saying that maintaining good health is a key factor in our lives. Focus area. Focus on 2 areas: eating better and staying active. Main discussion. Avoid processed foods and sugary drinks. Start your day with a short morning workout. Add colorful vegetables to every meal. Tone. Use a supportive and professional tone. Audience. Busy people with limited time in the day, new to healthy eating. So you can see that this formula is very comprehensive. We are specifying everything that we would like basically because we have every component at the place. And now with all that being said, let me use this formula and create perfect prompt from start to finish. I can go over to the right top corner, click on customize, and then start with the introduction. So I can type introduction, colon, and here I've got actually the notebook for the productivity. So I can type welcome recipients by emphasizing that improving productivity is key to achieving their goals and maximizing their time. So this is our introduction. Then we can go over to the focus area. So I can type focus area. So I can type focus on 2 areas: time management and prioritization. Then I have my main discussions. So let's go over to that. Also, let me actually provide the space between components. And now let me provide my main discussions that I would like to consider in this one particular podcast. So they are very simple. Break tasks into smaller manageable chunks. Use the 80-20 rule to focus on high impact activities. Schedule deep work sessions to minimize distractions. Then we can go over to the tone. So here I can provide use professional and enthusiastic tone. It's very cool. Afterwards, I can go over with the audience. So let's go over with the audience. So I can provide busy professionals that would like to save more time. So yeah, we've got it. After just actually a few minutes of creating our prompt, we've got everything that we wanted. And I must admit that it works for me kind of every time. Actually, it indicates AI to create very kind of sophisticated and very detailed podcast and actually to adhere to all of these data that we provided. With all that being said, let's go over, let's click on generate. So let's listen to the part of our podcast. But before that, we need to remember what we provided inside of our prompt. So for example, in the introduction, we welcome the listeners by emphasizing that improving productivity is key to achieving goals and maximizing their results. We are focusing on 2 areas, so time management and prioritization. And in the main discussions, for example, we are focusing on this particular data. So now let's listen to that and let's see if that worked.
Welcome to another deep dive with us. We're always looking for ways to level up, and I think improving productivity is something we can all agree is super important to getting more done and, achieving our goals.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, who doesn't want to make the most of their time, right? And for today's deep dive, we've got a really fascinating collection of productivity guides to dig into. Honestly, one of the biggest takeaways I found across all 3 guides is the need for ruthless prioritization.
Ruthless, huh? Okay.
Yeah, it's not just about working harder or faster. It's about being really intentional with your time and energy. And that starts with recognizing that you can't do everything at once.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do we figure out what to focus on first? Everything feels important.
Well, one technique that stood out to me in 100 productivity hacks is something called time boxing. Have you ever tried that?
Time boxing. I feel like I've heard of it, but I'm not sure I totally get it.
It's pretty simple, actually. It's all about allocating a specific block of time to a task and then sticking to it.
Oh, okay. Like setting a timer and saying, for the next hour, I'm only working on this one thing.
Exactly. And the handbook on productivity really dives into the benefits of time boxing. It reduces stress because you're not constantly switching between
Time boxing effectively. Like, isn't it hard to know how long?
your time boxes into. Oh, absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up because those two concepts go hand in hand.
Right. Like if you have a big problem. And I'm thinking about how this idea of breaking tasks down into smaller chunks.
So as you could see, our podcast performed very great. We actually had all of the components we provided, all of the data. So for example, areas of the time management and prioritization. Also here, kind of the introduction that we provided, so the specific data for that. And everything actually went very, very great. So this formula works. And by this way, we can manipulate our podcast. We can specify what we would like to exactly receive. And for me, this is kind of very amazing. So I hope that you see using our proven formula works perfectly. So that we have it. As always, thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to leave the like for the YouTube algorithm. Click the subscribe button. This is very, very important. If you are already doing that, thank you so, so much. You help me a lot. And for now, this is everything. I will see you in the next video.